And we start with the story. A consortium of 70 civil organizations and activists has threatened to shut down the business district of Sandton, north of Johannesburg today. Now, the call to action grouping says that the protest is to raise awareness of the high number of gender-based violence cases and xenophobia in South Africa. The group says it specifically intends shutting down the city due to a lack of responsibility or duty of care from corporate businesses. And motorists have been cautioned to steer clear of Sandton City during the planned shutdown that could see thousands of protests take place. So for more on this story, we cross now live to our reporter Hasina Gori, who is in Sandton. Now, Hasina, good morning. Woke up this morning at around 3 a.m. To messages of people already posting videos, the hashtag already trending, and women gathering in Sandton. So give us a sense of how it is and what is happening right now.
Good morning, Sakina. Yes, a different scene here in Sandton from usual, where you'd normally find traffic on these roads. This morning, there's a group of hundreds of women that have come out saying enough is enough. They said that they're going to shut down the business district and the richest square mile in Africa today, bringing a lot of issues that they feel are being hidden by a corporate South Africa, specifically around gender-based violence. They dressed in black, chanting, holding different banners as well as boards up. I'm going to step out and allow my colleague Skello to just zoom in and give you a look at some of the banners that we see here, and the group that's already out here at 6 a.m. They've come out, as you said, from at least 3 a.m. this morning, and the numbers are expected to grow. But with me to speak more on where the idea came from, specifically Johannesburg Stock Exchange to be the venue for today's protest, is one of the ladies from the consortium, which is Black Women Caucus chairperson, Kitumetsu. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Can you tell us first, let's start with, why was this venue specifically the one chosen for this morning?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I think it's important to note that within the fight against gender-based violence and femicide, we've seen that there's been an uncomfortable silence from corporate and the private sector. Today we've come and said, private sector, the president has said on several occasions that there is not enough money to fund the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. And we're saying, we're coming here, we're showing you where the money's at. And this is why the Johannesburg Stock Exchange was the most ideal place.
We know the protest started this morning at 3 a.m. Can you talk us through what is expected to happen this morning here?
Okay, definitely. So people have been assembling from as early as 2 a.m. actually this morning. We've had different groups coming from different parts of the province, right? The West Rand, the East Rand, Central Johannesburg, the south of Johannesburg have been flooding in. This is a 12-hour sit-in. As you will notice, we're not marching anywhere. We are asking people to come join us, standing in solidarity against the fight of gender-based violence and femicide. But most importantly, we will be having a program that we're looking at starting between 8 and 9 a.m. Where we'll be having different speakers coming in to pledge messages of solidarity. But I think also just to give South Africa, the rest of the world as well, a better insight in terms of what do we mean when we say enough is enough as South African women living in South Africa. But I think it's also important to note that as a CSO collective, we have drafted a memorandum that we are expecting to hand over to the CEO of the JSE. Unfortunately, she's not in the country. She's only landing in South Africa at 8 a.m. We are expecting to have her here by 10 a.m. latest.
We know that you've said that you came out here to the JSE specifically because as the public sector and as government, they've said there's not enough funding. What is corporate South Africa's responsibility specifically around issues such as gender-based violence?
I think this is almost an obvious answer, right? They make up, they own majority of the wealth generation in this country. Therefore, it is only honorable, right, and it's only mandatory that they also contribute generously to the fight against gender-based violence. One of our primary demands is that all JSE listed companies be and this should be implemented, that a 2% levy should be implemented for all JSE listed companies, in which all these proceeds will be directed to the fight against gender-based violence. But I think one of our most immediate demands is that we are currently in works of a national strategic plan against gender-based violence and femicide, which is expected to start in November 2019, but we still don't have money. Private sector, put the money where your mouth is, and that's all we're saying.
Thank you. There you heard it from the Black Women Caucus chairperson, Kutumita, speaking to us here outside the JSE this morning, where women have began gathering from at least 2 a.m. Saying enough is enough with regards specifically to the femicide and gender-based violence issues that we've seen in this country. We know the program, as we've heard, is expected to carry on till 3 p.m. So if anyone's coming into Sandton this morning, there will be some roads that are closed. We know between Mort Street, between West and Ravonia, as well as Glen Lane, has already been closed off this morning. Police are on the scene monitoring and just observing. As you heard, this is not a march but a sit-in protest. They're gathering outside the stock exchange and just saying enough is enough, and let our voices be heard finally as women, and let's see what we can do as South Africans together, both private sector as well as the public sector.
Well, thank you so much, Hasina Gori, and we'll be crossing over to that particular protest throughout the morning.